as is General Jack Keane, back with us right now, the U.S. four-star general, Fox News strategic analyst, Institute for the Study of War, the former Vice Chief of Staff of the Army. General, always good having you. The wait continues, but what if the response will be a series of proxy attacks? Nothing more than that. Not that that's minimized, but what do you make of that?
Yeah, well, certainly, Hezbollah likely to attack here, and also Iran directly. The other proxies may participate as well. But the two principals, Iran and Hezbollah, they don't want a war with Israel. They know economically that'd be a major setback, and geopolitically as well. And in case of Iran, it actually risks losing their regime. And the Israelis don't want an all-out war either. So obviously, trying to find the right balance is really the key. But I think, Neil, on reflection here, I think Prime Minister Netanyahu has really stepped up his game and with a sense of conviction and determination to finish this war on his terms. He's completed the operation in Rafah in a week or two, very successfully, minimum casualty, moved 1 million people out of the area. The administration said, don't do this operation. He stepped up his game at Han Yunis. He came very close, from my sources saying, to get Sinwar, which would have been incredibly around the exact time that he was killing Hamas's political chief and another Hamas leader, Mohammed Deif, and taking down the Hezbollah major leader as well. And I think what is happening here is Prime Minister Netanyahu is going after high-value leadership targets in addition to increasing the tempo of operations in the Middle East. He's sending a loud message to the Iranians and to their proxies that he's into this until he finishes it. And look what took place in the attack on the political chief of Hamas. I mean, taking him down certainly in of itself was a major issue at a time when negotiations are taking place, and he's the chief negotiator. He happens to be on a visit in Iran. But the location, Neil, is really the issue here, because they penetrated a high security zone for a VIP guest house in the general vicinity of where the Iranian government officials live. Therefore, they're all in that area under the protection of their security services. And here comes the Mossad, likely assisted by Iranian resistance group, to make that kind of penetration. Netanyahu is telling those Iranian leaders, if I can kill a visitor in your high security zone, I think I can kill your high government officials who live there permanently as well, because I have penetrated your security services. And previous espionage operations have also confirmed that as well. I think Netanyahu steps up his game here to get the Iranians to back up and to make certain they all understand that despite all the talk about ceasefire and all the pressure from this administration, Netanyahu is not going to give up the fight in Gaza until he eliminates Hamas as an effective fighting organization. He'll take a temporary ceasefire, for sure, in exchange for hostages. But that's not what the administration wants, Neil. They want a permanent ceasefire, and they'll take it now. They're just not saying it. And what Netanyahu is saying, no, I got to finish this, or else Hamas is going to reattack again. And I'm getting inside the Iranian leader's head so they understand what I'm really about here.
And you mentioned the administration, General. I had a State Department spokesman on earlier this past week, and then he acknowledged that there was very little, if any, heads up on the part of the Israelis about these attacks and a coordinated plan to take out these Hamas and Hezbollah leaders. And you raised the issue as well that if one facility could be booby-trapped, so to speak, I'm sure there's a frantic run all over Iran right now, to say nothing in Lebanon and Beirut, what have you, to check out similar facilities. So he's obviously, that as Benjamin Netanyahu changed the tone and the tune, going so far as to let the administration know you're on a need-to-know basis. And right now, you don't need to know. That's remarkable in and of itself, isn't it?
Well, I think it is. And certainly, once you start telling people what you're doing, someone tells somebody else, and it's very likely this stuff gets leaked out. And when you're going after a sensitive target like an individual, as opposed to a facility, that is much more challenging. Yeah, I really think that this administration is not on the same page with the prime minister. That's just the reality of it.
Got it. General, thank you so much. Always learn a lot. General Jack Keane, following these developments again.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.